The Excellency Dr. Haji Atikullah SAG MPD, the Honorable President of Indonesian Education Chair to Care, Mr. Abdul Ghafur MPD, and all delegation from Pakistan, India, and Australia. The head of undergraduate Islamic education program, the Excellency Mrs. Mulyatul Maufirah, and the participants conference. Good afternoon and have a good time, dear ladies and gentlemen. We would like to welcome all delegates of this international conference to the opening ceremony of annual international conference, the first GIMAC 2021 on theme Challenges of Digital Learning and Education 4.0. This program is the outcome of the cooperation between graduate program and undergraduate program of Islamic education of YIN Madura with Indonesian Education Share to Care volunteers with many other countries such as Pakistan, Singapore, Australia, and India. Praise is always given to Allah for the blessing and guidance so that we can be here to attend the international conference. Salawat ma'asalam will also be always delivered to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Respectable guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let's listen to the reciting Quran and Salawat Nabi that is going to be delivered by Siti Ainur Mutmainah. Time's yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udzu billahi minasy syaithanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya ayyuhalladzina amanu idza qila lakum tafassahu fil majalis إذا قيل لكم تفسحوا في المجالس فافسحوا يفسح الله لكم وإذا قيل انشزوا فانشزوا يرفع الله الذين آمنوا منكم يرفع الله الذين آمنوا منكم والذين أوتوا العلم درجات والله بما تعملون خبير بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم صدق الله العظيم اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله وصحبه بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فاهتز العرش طربا واستبشارا وازداد الكرسي هيبة ووقارا وامتلأت السماوات أنوارا وضجت الملائكة تهليلا وتنجيدا Walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. Walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. ولم تزل أمه ترى أنواعا من فخره وفضله إلى نهاية تمام حمله، فلما اشتد بها الطلق بإذن رب الخلق وضاعت الحبيب وضاعت الحبيب وضاعت الحبيب صلى الله عليه وسلم ساجدا شاكرا حامدا كأنه البدر في تمام صلى الله على محمد. Allahumma sholli ala Muhammad. Ya Nabi salam alaika, Ya Rasul salam alaika, Ya Habib salam alaika. أشرق البدر علينا فاختفت منه البدور مثل حسنك ما رأينا قط يا Ya Nabi salam. مرحبا ما رأى وجهك يسعد، مرحبا يا كريم الوالدين، مرحبا حوضك الصافي المبرد، مرحبا وردنا يوما نشوري، مرحبا مرحبا يا نور عيني، مرحبا جد الحسين، مرحبا مرحبا أهلا وسهلا، مرحبا مرحبا يا خير داعي. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله وصحبه. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Singing National Anthem, Indonesia Raya, Conductor Nuris. All audiences are kindly requested to stand up. Please have a seat. We are going to start the opening ceremony by the opening session. I would kindly request the Dean of Tarbiyah Faculty to open this ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, the Excellency, Dr. Atikullah, MPD.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ala hadihin niyya wa ala kulli niyatin salihah wa ala ma nawaina ila hadratin nabiyil mustafa sayyidina Muhammadin sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Al-Fatihah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Wal 'afwu minkum wallahul muwaffiq ila aqwamit thariq. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Welcoming speech from the Chief of the Committee. In this occasion, the Chief of the Committee is the head of undergraduate Islamic education of YIN Madura. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mrs. Mulyatul Maufiro.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Have a nice time, ladies and gentlemen. Alhamdulillah. Alladzi an'amana bi ni'matil iman wal islam. Wa nusalli wa nusallimu ala khairil anam. Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. The Honorable Rector of IAIN Madura, Dr. Haji Muhammad Qasim MAG, the Honorable Director of Graduate Program of IAIN Madura, Dr. Haji Zainuddin Sharif MA, the Honorable the Dean of Tarbiyah Faculty IAIN Madura, Dr. Haji Atikullah SAG MPD, the Honorable Mr. Abdul Ghafur MPD, President of Indonesian Education Share to Care Volunteers. The Honorable Professor Dr. Tamfir Hussain, Rector NTU Pakistan, and Vice Rector Mr. Zafar Jayed. Dr. Sapna Tamrakar, Founder Sri Krishna Educare India. Dr. Regin, Founder Cape Tomorin India. Dr. Banu Handar, Founder ESN Publishing India. Dr. Faisal Fayaz, Founder Sport Promotion Society International Pakistan. The Honorable Asok Prof. Dr. Kaji Fargis, Chris College, Pakistan. Dr. Andi Asrifan, MPD, Patola Palalo Foundation or University Muhammadiyah Sidenreng, Rapang, Sulawesi. The Honorable Assist Prof. Dr. Muhammad Zubair, Jami'ah Millia Islamia University, India. All committee and the lecturers and the excellencies, the graduate student and undergraduate student of Islamic Education Program of Tarbiyah Faculty of IAIN Madura. Thank God for the wall blessing that we can attend the international conference with the theme Challenges of Digital Learning in Education 4.0 on 12 October 2021 in a good condition. Amin ya Rabb. Salawat and salam Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. We deliver to the great Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the great revolutionary in Islam. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, here we can say that his program consists of luring 52 graduate students and 6 students from undergraduate Islamic education program. While the program is also daring live streaming via Zoom and YouTube, so it can be seen by the student of undergraduate Islamic program for the 3rd and 5th semester and graduate student 1st semester. Thank you for all committee that has support this program, both from graduate program of IAIN Madura, from the undergraduate Islamic education program, the president of Indonesian Education Share to Care volunteers, all speaker, podcast team of Tarbiyah faculty, and all students of graduate and undergraduate Islamic education program. Honorable ladies and gentlemen, we kindly deliver sorry for the inconvenience for the imperfect preparation. We hope that we meet again in the near future and other change. Hopefully, this international conference on the theme Challenge of Digital Learning in Education 4.0 runs smoothly, be useful both on the knowledge and experience, and it can give barakah to all of us. Amin ya Rabb. Akhirul kalam, wallahu.
Continuing to the next page, we would like to invite the Director of Graduate Program of IAIN Madura as to officially open this international conference. We would like to invite Dr. Haji Zainuddin Sharif, MAG, to deliver a speech.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Rector IAIN Madura, Dr. Muhammad Qasim MAG. So he has something important. He couldn't come here. The second Dean of Tarbiyah Faculty, Dr. Atutullah MAG. Thank you for coming and joining for us. The third Head of Undergraduate Program of PAI IAIN Madura, Mrs. Mulia, MPD. And thank you for coming and joining for us, postgraduate and undergraduate student PAI study program. And of course, I would like to thank delegation of the cooperation, our memorandum of understanding or action, who good willing and will be present will give remark. The first, the founder of GTU, Mr. Dr. Chris Satiro Paulus from Australia. Thank you for coming and joining for us. The second Vice Rector, Mr. Zafar Javid from NTU, National Textile University, Pakistan. The third, the founder, Sri Krishna Educare India, Mr. Dr. Safrana Tamrakar. Fourth, the founder, KIF Tomarin India, Mr. Rijan. And the fifth, the founder of ESN Publishing India, Mr. Dr. Banu Chandar, Sikh, the founder of Sport Promotion Society International Pakistan, Mr. Dr. Faisal Fayaz. I also thank all the speakers, all the seminar, at the seminar, Student Development Program brutally present, the first gimmick 2021, graduate program of the Madura State Islamic Institute Annual International Conference, by topic Challenges of Digital Learning in Education 4.0. First speaker, Associate Prof. Dr. Kaji Farjisi from Christ College Autonomous Iranjalakuda, Kerala, India. Second speaker, Dr. Chris Satiropoulos from Global Youth Opportunity Commercialization, Australia. The third speaker, Assist Prof. Dr. Muhammad Yasin from National Textile University, Pakistan. Fourth speaker, Dr. Andi Asrifan, MPD, Patola Palalu Foundation from Sulawesi. Fifth speaker, Assist Prof. Dr. Muhammad Subair, Jamia Milia Islamia, India. The last speaker from IAIN Madura, Mr. Abdul Ghafur, President of IES 2C Volunteer. I hope that the seminar activities and Memorandum of Action, or MOA, can be continued with lecturer exchange, student exchange, and research collaboration, as well as other activities that can add fun to the campus so that the IAIN campus become a world-class university together with the campus that you manage. Before I end, apologies if there is an error in mentioning your name and institution. Finally, the MOA and seminar activities by saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim can be started and implemented. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The next is MOU statement, and this part will be taken over by the President of Indonesian Education Share to Care Volunteers, Mr. Abdul Ghafur, MPD.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good afternoon from Indonesia. Good morning in India. Good morning in Pakistan, and also good morning in Australia. Honorable Rector of National Textile University, Pakistan. Honorable Founder of GUC, Australia. Honorable Director of Cape Town in India. Honorable Director of ESN Publication India. Honorable of Sport Promotion Society International, Pakistan. My deepest gratitude to the directors of the IAIN Madura, Mr. Dr. Muhammad Qasim, MAG, Honorable Director of Graduate Programs of Islamic Education of IAIN Madura, Mr. Dr. Zainuddin Sarif, Honorable Directors of Undergraduate Program of Islamic Education of IAIN Madura, Mrs. Muliatul Maufirah, MPDI, Honorable Board of Indonesian Education Share to Care volunteers who joining and staying in these rooms. Dear committee of the event, ladies and gentlemen, the participant of the MOU and also conference. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin, praise for the presence of God Almighty, because on this day we can gather in the conference hall of Tarbiyah Faculty of the IAIN Madura, East of Java, Indonesia, and also in the Zoom meeting platforms to hold a wonderful conference and assigning the MOU of understanding among 5 overseas partners and 1 institution of education in Indonesia. Praise and greeting may remain expressed to the Lord. Ladies and gentlemen, before I say welcome to directors, principal, and also directors of institution who joining in this wonderful programs on conference and also the MOU programs, We hope that this activity will give us high benefits. Also, already note that in this occasion, I would like to read the memorandum of understanding that going to accept it with the high respect and high dedication to education world. Really, we hope that the intents of MOU could give us benefit to share and also support the education in our institutions and also in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let me read the letters. Directors, institution, and universities member of MOU Indonesia, and directors, principal, National Textile University, Pakistan, Cape Tomorin, India, SPSC, Pakistan, Sri Krishna Educare India, GUC from Australia, ESN Publishing India, for the purpose of furthering cooperation in both education and academic research, RB affirm their intent to promote such academic exchange as a mutual benefit for their respective institutions. Academic exchange in consider here to include but not limited to: first one, development of mutually beneficial academic and training programs, exchange of faculty and staff for purposes of teaching, research, and extensions. The third one, reciprocal assistance for visiting academic faculty, staff, and students. The fourth, coordination of such activities as joint research and transfer of technology. The fifth, exchange of documents, documentation, and research material in the field of mutual interest. Detail of the implementation of any particular exchange resulting from this memorandum of understanding shall be negotiated between the two institutions as such specific case may arise and is subject to availability of sufficient funds. This memorandum of understanding to promote academic exchange and cooperation will be valid for 5 years and is subject to revision, renewal, or cancellation by mutual consent and shall be implemented in the form of memorandum of agreement, which explain in detail the right and the obligation of each parties. This memorandum of understanding become effective upon completion of signature in witness. Therefore, the parties have hereunto set their respective signature on this date. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the agreement that going to apply in any activities in the world of education. Hopefully all the members going to help any activities and will be supported by each of the member of the MOU as the draft of the agreement I already sent to each of the partner, and as the president of Indonesian Share to Care Volunteers, I would like to say thousands of thanks, a huge of thanks for all partners from India, from Pakistan, and also from Australia. Thank you for your attention. Indonesian October 12, 2021, President of Indonesian Share to Care Volunteers, Abdul Ghafur, the President. Thank you, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The next speech will be delivered by the founder of GTO Australia. We kindly invite Dr. Chris Sotiropoulos to give a speech.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, honorable members of the State Islamic Institute of Madura, honorable rector, deans, graduate program organizing committee, teachers, let's not forget the students, guests and friends. It is with much pleasure that we, GOC, or Global Opportunities Commercialization, is entering into a relationship with this wonderful teaching institution. As we embark on the relationship, we do so with respect, caring, as well as seeking academic excellence and assessing new categories of research to deal with several matters including those which will be discussed in today's conference. Our organization, Global Opportunities Commercialization, currently has a very strong interest in education, and indeed many of our leading members of the organization have been academics, vice chancellors, professors, doctors, holders of PhDs, very strong academic interest and continuing interest. And we also have relationships with universities in Europe, Africa, Australia, India, and the learnings that we have experienced with those institutions, as well as our own in the area of entrepreneurship, innovation, youth empowerment, we propose to extend in friendship to your institution in the belief that by learning from what systems are being employed around the world, your institution may then identify the relevant elements which are contextually relevant to your society and culture in order to flourish. So they're the few words that I wish to say. Of course, to members of Madura, when you are visiting Australia, it would be our pleasure to host you, where you may meet some of our colleagues and staff. And once again, in conclusion, we are thrilled at the relationship and look forward to working closely to developing a very long and strong friendship as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the speech, sir. Now, the next speech will be delivered by Director of NTU, Pakistan. We kindly invite Professor Dr. Tanvir Hussain to give a speech. Or we would kindly expect Mr. Jafar Zafed instead.
Thank you very much. Let me first extend the sincere apology from the rector because he has to rush to the capital because of some urgent meeting. I'm really thankful for providing us an opportunity and providing us such a dynamic platform where we can express our views, share our ideas. I'm really thankful to all the heads sitting here, all the faculty members, student, and all the audience for joining their hand together in order to develop this much needed and a dynamic platform. The thing we are witnessing right now, we would not have witnessed it like a couple of years back, or we would not have imagined it like now that at the moment we are connected from the different part of globe. If this would have been a physical one, that seems quite difficult, quite expensive, and near to impossible. We are really thankful and excited to join our hand with such a dynamic group of people, and especially signing an MOU with IAIN. And we are looking forward to benefit out of this arrangement. Let me briefly introduce National Textile University. We are one of the oldest textile institute in Pakistan, and we are the only university university in Pakistan, which is focused purely on textiles, having 4 faculties running more than 30 programs. And we are one of the oldest as well as the leading institute imparting education in textile, in design, in computer sciences, textile engineering, and polymer engineering. Ladies and gentlemen, let me extend the assurity that once we are entering into this arrangement, we'll assure you that all of our doors are wide open for every member of this consortium, and we'll be willing to extend all that is permissible and possible within our limits, the type of cooperation or the joint ventures or any other arrangement where we can have the mutual benefit with the other members. And my firm belief is the people from academics and people from the organizations whose representatives or heads are sitting right here, they are the people who become the sane voices that helps in reducing the hostility on the globe. And this is what is much needed in this era of in this era of chaos and in this era of tough times which we are facing on the in the present time. So I'm really thankful to the organizing team. I'm really thankful all of those who have participated in managing this event, all those who have imparted their efforts in order to make it possible to bring everybody together, to bind us with each other by signing this MOU. And I'm sure this will not only benefit the members of this consortium, but it's going to benefit the whole world, the globe, our homeland. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. The next speech will be delivered by the founder of Sri Krishna Educare India. We kindly invite Dr. Sapna Thamrakar to give speech. Okay, now let's continue. The next speech will be delivered by the founder, Cape Tamarin, India. Dr. Regine, please give your speech. Is there any there? No? Okay, thank you. Now let's continue. Okay. The next speech will be delivered by the founder of Sport Promotion Society International Pakistan. We kindly invite Dr. Faisal Fayaz to give a speech.
Assalamu alaikum to all of you. I'm very happy to see that my dear brother Abdul Ghafoor did a lot of efforts to apprise the challenges of basically to uplift the standard of education in the world. So if we just look at this thing, the challenges of learning in the future era, it's becoming difficult and complex as well. And no one can deny the importance of educational technologies. During COVID pandemic, we all basically connected with each other through this technology. And it's just like this, if I'm giving one example here, we would just go to purchase any device or any product or any electronic gadget. So we just basically, first of all, check the specification of that thing. So same like our students, now there is a need to embed different skills, different instincts, different qualities, and enhance the potential in such way that they become the good human in the world as well. So being a teacher, it's our duty to serve the humanity, to guide them, to literate them, the best ones, so that they become the best human in the world. They could serve the country, they could serve the community as well, So this is the basically main theme. And collaboration and integration is very important nowadays. Reason if we talk about the Bloom's taxonomy, so the most important thing nowadays in this era and its pyramid have been changed. Now the creation is the most important thing and at the highest level. So remember, this is the era where information, data, each and everything is available, but there is a need to integrate and to, with the collaboration, there is a need to enhance and innovate the things to serve the humanity, to serve the community as well. So challenges of education technologies are very important and there should be, we should work on it collaboratively and with, we should help to each other so that the humans do something good in the world as well. And I'm really grateful to Brother Abdul Ghafoor. He did a wonderful job, and it's not a simple thing that a single person is doing and searching and finding the collaboration in the whole world for Indonesian communities, for Indonesian students. It's not a simple thing. So I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful to Dr. Quest and Dr. Zainuddin and all the basically members of organizing committee. They are doing wonderful job. So thank you very much and assalamu alaikum to all of you from my side, from Pakistan side.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you for the speech. The last session is closing session. Now let's close this opening ceremony by delivering Hamdalah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. The international conference is officially open, everybody. On behalf of the committee, we would like to give our gratitude and appreciation for all presenters and thank you for all participants here. I think that's all from me. Thank you for your attention. The conference session will be guided by our lovely moderator, Mrs. Fitriah Rahmawati. Time's yours. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, my brother Jabar Javed, for your attending this kind of MOU. My brother Faisal Fayaz from Pakistan, and my brother Chris Sotrobos from Australia. Thank you so much for your attention joining with us. 5. Ya. 5 saya. Datang semua. Ada, sudah siap semua. Siap. Siap. Nggak usah, nggak apa-apa.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the seminar this afternoon is about to start. And please, for all presenters, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the seminar is about to start, and before we start the seminar, let's check the audio, especially for all presenters today. Dr. Fergesi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm very much here. Hope you can hear me, right?
Yes, is it clear?
Yeah,
It is clear.
thank you.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
And for Dr. Chris,
Yes, good afternoon. I'm here as well.
okay, thank you. And Dr. Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Yasin. Okay. And Dr. Andi Asrifan and Dr. Muhammad Zubair and Sir Goffer. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we can start the seminar this afternoon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, all participants of Student Development Program, Graduate Program of Institut Agama Islam Negeri Madura Annual International Conference. Honorable Director of EIN Madura, Dr. Haji Muhammad Qasim MAG, Honorable the Director of Graduate Program, Dr. Zainuddin Sharif, and Honorable all distinguished speakers who come from many countries such as India, Pakistan, Australia, and Indonesia. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. I would like to invite you to send our greatest gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for His blessings and mercy. So today, in this afternoon, we can join the program, namely Graduate Program of EIN Madura Annual International Conference in a good condition. Salawat and salam always be upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik alaih. Dear ladies and gentlemen, my name is Fitria Rahmawati, and it is a great honor for me to be a moderator for today's conference. And I would like to guide the discussions in this afternoon. So, first of all, I would like to introduce for five presenters. Actually, this afternoon is the conference under the theme Challenges of Digital Learning Education 4.0, which cover digital learning strategy and online classroom management and 21st century skills. And we have 5 presenters from India, from Pakistan, from Australia, and Indonesia that will discuss about these wonderful topics. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin the discussions by reciting Basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We wish that the program will run smoothly. Here we go. So after this, I will invite the first presenters, and for all participants that attend to the conference in the room, and for the participants that join the program through Zoom meeting or YouTube, if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and feel free to ask directly, or you can write your questions in the chat box in the Zoom or in the chat box of YouTube. Okay, dear ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite the first speaker. He is Dr. KJ Ferguson. But before I invite him, I would like to read their curriculum vitae. Dr. KJ Ferguson is an associate professor of English at Christ College, Irin Jalakuda, affiliated to University of Calcutta, Kerala, India. He is an MA in English language and literature and has a degree in education. His doctoral degree is ELT through ICT. He has two postgraduate diplomas to his credit, one in journalism and the other in English language teaching. He is a member of doctoral committees in several universities and a PhD adjudicator in 5 universities in India. His areas of interest are technology in education, NLP, and language and technology. Dear Dr. Ferguson, are you there?
Yes, I'm very much here.
Okay, good morning.
Morning. It's in fact in India, it's good afternoon.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, Dr. Ferguson, you have.
Okay.
You have 20 minutes to present your topic today. Okay, the time is yours. For all audience, please welcome Dr. KJ Ferguson.
Thank you. Thanks for that wonderful introduction. Director of IIN Madura, Rector, and all distinguished guests, and my close friend and brother, Dr. Abdul Ghafoor, and all others. Nice to be here on this platform, especially to address a conference of challenges in digital education, especially in 4.0. So we are all now very much discussing this particular aspect of digital transformation of education, and both students and teachers have a lot of challenges. But I would say, of course, challenges are there, especially that of digital divide and digital immigrants. Teachers are digital immigrants, students are digital natives. At the same time, if you could change all these into opportunities, I think a great time is ahead of us. So with that short introduction, let me start sharing my screen. And hope you can see my screen now. Yes. So I've titled my presentation, Digital Transformation of Education Challenges and Opportunities. See, education, as we know, is the process of learning or acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, beliefs, and habits. We all know what education is. Digital transformation means transforming an organization's core business to better meet customer needs by leveraging technology and data. That is digitalization of education. In education, of course, the target customer are students, though it could also be faculty, staff, alumni, and others. So, in fact, with the advent of COVID-19, this pandemic, digital transformation is in place now. See, we are all living in industrial revolution 4.0, an information era, and almost all educational agencies were trying their best to have this mode of education, but There were a kind of reluctance from maybe teachers' side because they were digital immigrants, and students, in fact, because of their mindset. But COVID has very well placed a digital transformation of education, we all know. And this may be a graphical representation of a transformation of education, transition from physical to digital. And now, when we speak of digital transformation of education, what exactly it includes? Okay, because see, everything has gone digital. Recruiting students digitally using social media and text messaging as part of data-driven decision process, allowing students to register via their mobile phones and scalable cloud. So in all aspects, see the office automation, the administrative side, the teaching learning side, the examination side, providing a variety of online learning options to students. And they are often offered different courses to choose from for their academic career. Then working with faculty and programs to convert courses into flipped and blended models, using technology to monitor student progress and success metrics and executing intervention protocols. So partnering with industry to provide digital badges and certificates to enhance career opportunities. So altogether, we can call this as digital transformation of education, where teaching, learning, and also the professional development, examinations, to a certain extent, the management, the learning management, altogether is shifted to a digital platform. So there are a lot of challenges. Industrial revolution, and what are the educational implications? Okay, of course, tremendous challenges to teachers. That's the topic of today's conference itself. And what are the main challenges to teachers? It is to rethink their basic tenets, their basic beliefs, their basic practices regarding teaching learning process. Because most of us cannot teach our students the way we were taught, because there is a big leap in the the digitization and in the digital tools and things like that. Okay, and people in all walks of life are in a way using digitization to the maximum and for the benefits of their professions. So first challenge is that we should rethink their basic tenets, the basic tenets of teachers, the basic beliefs regarding teaching, basic practices regarding teaching, etc. will have to undergo a change. To deploy media and media in creative and productive ways, that's also a big challenge to our teachers. To deploy media. Media is there in plenty, but how to use creatively and productively in our teaching learning process. And to restructure education, that's the greatest challenge. To restructure education to respond progressively and constructively to the social and technological changes. A lot of changes are happening. So we need to restructure education for that purpose. Okay, see, these are the main challenges. And I would like to assert who, if I were to ask who led the digital transformation education, see, these are the educational agencies in India, or the Ministry of Education, UGC, there are NCRT, SCRT, and AICTE. But if I were to be asked who led the digital transformation of education, I would say it is COVID-19. So what are the positives? See, we are all affected by, COVID. And what exactly are the positive outlooks of this? Because of this digital transformation, what are the positive outlooks? And if you know this, naturally it would be easy for us to, find or change the challenges in the opportunities. Positive outlook is opening new avenues in the field of education, a lot of new avenues, which otherwise never known to teachers and students are opened, especially in the field of digitization as far as teaching learning process is concerned, paving way for learning new resources. And this also led both teachers and students to understand new resources and how to make use of it, giving an opportunity to experience new technology interventions. I'm sure that if the COVID was not there, and of course the technology is there in plenty, both hardware and software, but this COVID might have given us a chance to explore and experience new technology interventions, enabling learning new skill sets. So it was with, again, this should have been the part of Industrial Revolution 4.0, and we were slowly doing it, but it was fastened. And the speed was accelerated because of by the teachers and students. In fact, learning new skill sets and acquiring new skills, reinforcing the need for continuous learning. That's it. That's another aspect. Okay, the teaching learning process or the learning process never stops with the college or university education. It continues, and that is also because of digitization of learning, creating totally new education vertical. Maybe everyone, students and adults can be taught in the same way. That's also because of this digitization of education. And of course, there are negative influences. We all know there are a lot of negative influences. Closure of institutions are there, increasing compulsive use of electronic devices. Whether you like it or not, you're asked to use them. Okay, both teachers and students. Effect on general well-being. We are all concerned about our well-being. Social disengagement is there. That's just because of this pandemic. Then denial of extracurricular activities also. That's also a big problem that we face. Okay, exposure and experience is also limited. Teacher-student disconnect is there. Challenges in sustaining relationship and creating a sense of insecurity and uncertainty. All these things to a certain extent are there. That's the negative influence of the pandemic. But Industrialization 4.0 has given a lot of blessings, a lot, to reach our students, because teaching is often said to be reaching. So we can very well reach our students through the latest gadgets. And some challenges are these. People think these are a few challenges, okay, in the digitization of education. People think that effectiveness of virtual classrooms and learning. They have their own doubts about virtual classrooms and the learning outcomes. And that's one reason is because of the teacher-taught mindset. Both students, parents, and teachers have their own doubts regarding virtual classrooms and learning outcomes. But to a certain extent, that is because of teacher-taught mindset. That is also a challenge. Okay, then limitations in interaction. That's another challenge that we have. And another one is absence of community feeling. My internet is a bit unstable. I think you can hear me. Okay. Absence of community feeling and class atmosphere is sometimes lost when we digitize it. Sense of isolation is also there. Unconducive home environments when classes are. So I'm speaking it in the perspective of this pandemic. But we are in the new normal now. And I think this new normal will go maybe for 1 more year, or we don't know. Okay, so we have to adjust with all that. But naturally, after the pandemic, when people, we will go for a kind of blended learning. Make use of all these digital tools in our teaching learning process in the live classrooms. Challenges of technical glitches are also there. That's another challenge faced by teachers, especially in the digital era. See, bandwidth problems are there, laptop desktop capability problems are there, inadequacy of sources for many students and teachers, okay, because we have the digital divide. There are digital haves and digital have-nots. So naturally, many cannot access all these digital tools and websites, etc. Requirement for more than one laptop, maybe at home. Then the weather conditions are also. That's why I mentioned it's raining heavily in India, especially in my place, Kerala. So naturally, there is a fluctuation. Then power situation is also important. Lack of individual attention is also limited, maybe sometimes when we go by this. Teacher-learner responsiveness is also limited. We face it nowadays, especially when we are in the digital classrooms. Then computer fatigue. Eyes are affected. Okay, people get tired because they say, and content conflict. When content comes one after another, especially on the screen, there is every chance for content conflict. So these are some of the great challenges. But how can we prepare our students to face, students and teachers both? And I would say that prepare students and teachers for the change they will undergo by induction programs. Our university is having induction programs, both for teachers and students, so that mindset changes. Okay, And do not force or compel or pressurize by overloading academic sessions. That's another thing which we can do. Readjust the pace of teaching. Pace of the teaching will have to be readjusted, and it has to be given in small, I mean, maybe 1 hour classes will have to be turned into 30-35 minutes classes. Okay, then we can, of course, and give good, break time should be lengthened. Create student familiarity by facilitating face-to-face online ice-breaking interaction. That is possible. We are having one today. I'm in the college, in fact. Indeed, a shorten class duration, as I said, and give extended breaks to clear inhibitions and anxiety. Create small group mentorship sessions. Okay, we are making a mentor and mentees. Okay, so small group mentorship sessions will help the students, in fact, to do away with inhibitions and anxiety. Use of social media like WhatsApp or normal media, which everyone has, for informal interaction, to prepare students and faculty for this. And very important thing, enhance faculty role in the classroom, often from fire and forget to guide and mentor. No teacher is a sage on the stage. We are all guides on the side. With that in the mind, okay, often what happens in the classroom is sometimes fire and forget. Okay, we give the class and it disappears forever. But because of the digitization of education, though we have so many challenges, we can have recorded versions where students can, access it at leisure. So what exactly is the changes happening? Okay, so these are a few challenges, but it can be very well made into greater opportunities. Okay, so when we use ICTs or digital tools in our classrooms, see the change, we'll have to change the way teachers teach and students, the way students learn. There are a lot of changes introduced. Teachers' roles are changing as a result of implementing these kind of ICT tools in their classrooms. Maybe there can be, in a very broad way, see, one is a shift from teacher was a knowledge transmitter, a primary source of information for the students. Knowledge transmitter in the classroom always. From there, a teacher should be a learning facilitator, a collaborator, a coach, a knowledge navigator, and a co-learner. So what happens here is, see, a teachers are often dwelling in the thinking domain, in the cognitive domain. But once you become a coach, he or she has to take care of the affective domain, the cognitive domain, and also the psychomotor domain. So, and he has to be a collaborator, collaborate with other teachers as far as teaching learning process are concerned, and a co-learner. So that's a big shift as far as teacher is concerned. And as a student, and of course the student, teacher controlling and directing all aspects of learning. That's what we see often in the classroom, though we speak about student-centered classrooms. But here, when we go for digital transformation of education, teaching learning process, teacher giving students more options and responsibilities for their own learning. So naturally, students should be ready to take up more responsibilities. Okay, then only they can become a self-direct. So teacher is often giving a chance for the students to become a self-motivated, self-directed, and self-regulated student. These are all different. So naturally, more responsibilities are shifted to us. And if the students can rise to the occasion, they can be great learners, especially in a blended teaching learning process. Okay, this is a paradigm shift.
Doctor,
okay, yeah. So here, yes.
5 minutes left. Sir.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I'll be winding up. So the paradigm shift is this. Okay, the student at the center, and teacher becomes just one of the source of information, but teacher can never be replaced by technology, I repeat. Okay, but teachers, who can handle technology well, can do wonders in the classroom. So that's it. So here was, teacher is just one source of information, and it is the duty of the teacher to introduce all this. So we go to, as far as the digital, another aspect is this flipped classrooms. That is often a challenge because we are familiar with traditional classrooms where we took care of the remembering and understanding level in the classroom, and applying the higher cognitive levels were often not attended to properly, or it was attended, after the class. But this would be a great chance also Though it is a challenge, it's a great chance, great opportunity for the teacher to address the students. Okay, the remembering and understanding level can happen outside the classroom. Whenever the students come to the classroom, we can attend it to the higher cognitive levels like applying, analyzing, evaluating, creating. The flipped classroom concept at the same time blended learning. So this is a big challenge for us to maybe a digital immigrant teacher. See, content knowledge is quite strong for us, the TPAC. So here it's quite the TPAC knowledge, the content knowledge is strong. We have so that is what to teach, and pedagogical knowledge, how to teach, but we also need the technological knowledge, okay, to use the right tool to reach the students and teach them. So the teacher will have to, it's another challenge, will have to have some skills, associated with of technology in teaching language. So this is somehow the teacher would have. These are all challenges, but it can be easily accessed. Skill sets for 21st century, building a new paradigm. It's a duty of the teacher, the creative publishing side, information management side, and he has to use the thinking pedagogy and create right learning environment for students. So what as I close, what I would like to tell you is this: it doesn't matter how many resources you have, we should know how to use them. That's the greatest challenge of a teacher. We may have a lot of resources with us, but we should know how to use them. So I would say it's not the hardware or the software, but it's the humanware that matters. That's the greatest challenge. Humanware is individual teachers' capacity to organize classes, using the available technology. Right? So using technology in the classroom, I should say, is the mindset, not a skill set. So if your mindset is okay, naturally the skill set will follow. And as I wind up, see, as far as in the use of technology and industrial revolution 4.0 situation, who have you become because of this pandemic? See, I would say 50% are still afraid. They are grabbing toilet paper and hiding it, complaining about having to sit on your ass, okay, and grumbling, is this over yet? Then sleeping until 12 to 14 hours every day, saying that they have nothing to do. No, but we should instead, from 50 to 40%, of course, they are use that. They are in the learning zone. Okay, use the time to learn new things. Find ways to stay productive. Give up what you cannot control. Pandemic cannot be controlled only through vaccine and social distancing and masking. Another one, take action with your extra time. Live in the present, not in the future, and work hard. But working hard is not enough. That's the biggest challenge. We work hard, we all teachers, but we should start working smart. That's the greatness of the 10%. Okay, they plant the seed for something amazing. Identify this time, especially the time of pandemic, as potentially life altering. Use the time to build something that will have value for the rest of your life. Very important. Become mentally tough, become greater time management, develop major skill set in order to teach our students, because that's very much needed in the industrialization 4.0. Change your life and work smart. So from working hard, teachers and students should start working smart. And how to work smart with the digital, the tools and the digitization. We have a lot of technology with us. So using that, we should work smart. And with that, I end. Yes, ma'am. So we should all work smart, and wish you all happy, smart teaching and smart learning. Okay, instead of hard work, smart work. Thank you. Thank you very much. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Fargesi, for a great explanation. What a great explanation about digital transformation of education, challenges and opportunities. And what you have told us in line with digital transformation actually is really suitable with our condition today, especially in pandemic and in the era of 4.0. And one thing I can, one interesting quote for this afternoon is, I like so much is, using ICT or using technology is a mindset, not a skill set. Thank you very much, Dr. Fargesi, for your great explanation and presentations. And Okay, audiences, do you have any questions? Questions? Okay, one question. Okay, yes, you, sir.
Salam.
Great, you are audible.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for the moderator has chosen me as participant. And before I want say my questions, I would like to say thank you very much for Dr. KJ Varghese from India for the nice explanations. Before I say my question, let me introduce myself. My name is Arif Afandi from Graduate Islamic Program, first semester. My question is, we know that Indonesia and India has different culture, especially in education system, technology, and the students. And my question is how to create or to combine the differences between Indonesia and India with the different culture, technology, and the students. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, so naturally, to a certain extent, see, because of technology, we are together. As I've mentioned, the whole world has shrunk into a global village. And to inform you that we have already started an international credit transfer with one of the universities of Indonesia. See, 10 students are studying now in Christ College, in our university, especially English students, and they are taking, what do you call, international credit transfer, credits from our programs. And that includes cultural studies, okay, and communication skills, cross-cultural communication, etc. Okay, so I would say that because of an MOU which we signed the last time, Christ College had signed an MOU, of course, under the leadership of Professor Gafoor. Okay, MOU was signed, and the result of MOU, in order to make the MOU functional, now we have gone for an international credit transfer, and students are attending classes in this semester, okay, in this year. So this is possible, all because of technology. This kind of, what do you call, cross-cultural exchanges are possible. So naturally, we can narrow the gap between two cultures in India and also in Indonesia. Okay, thanks for the question.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Varghese, and thank you for the questions. And the next turn is Dr. Chris from Australia. He is the founder of GOC Australia, Global Opportunities and Commercialization. Okay.
Wonderful.
Dr.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Chris. Okay, the time is yours, sir.
Thank you kindly, moderator. I will share my screen as I have a presentation. The topic of today's First International Conference is a fabulous one. For the many reasons Dr. Varghese indicated previously, and also has been indicated by the leadership of this organization. Yes, there are challenges. Yes, we have been thrust into an environment that we did not plan for, an environment which is causing lots of distress. However, being the species on this planet that we are, we do come up with solutions. And let me throw in a second, however. However, we're still figuring out whether these are solutions or whether these are learning opportunities which will lead us to identify different modalities. So the activities of the digital education means that there is now international mobility. What does that mean? That means that students in Madura are able to access information at a touch of a button using their phone, laptops, etc., from different parts of the world, sometimes real time, sometimes educational resources, access to books, access to videos, Twitter feeds, commentary. There is another interesting initiative that's occurring in this space that we're seeing. That is the ability of students, say from Indonesia or Saudi Arabia or Somalia, to undertake subjects in another institution in another part of the world, to foster their learnings, rather than when I was a child, you would only have the one institution. The idea of let me take a subject from another institution did not exist. We may find in the next 5-6 years that also extends to the secondary school. Primary school, maybe selectively. So the digital environment has now opened up international mobility. Prior to COVID, it existed in a very fragmented manner. Yes, globalization was a wonderful mechanism for parts of economic trade, a little bit of social and cultural activities and exchange. But beyond that, it didn't really take off substantially using the digital environment for education. For example, in Australia, one of our big economies is in international students coming here. They come from Indonesia, China, South America, Europe, and they live here and they study here. Now, with COVID and the lockdown restrictions we have had here, a lot of that has collapsed. And universities are reconfiguring themselves as to what they're going to do. So international mobility, I think, is here to stay. It's a great model for exchanging content, relationships, research, again, where the platform of the Memorandum of Understanding sits is very much in several elements reliant on the digital format. However, there are still fundamental pedagogy truths. What are these truths? Mentioned by Dr. Varghese a moment ago. The teacher will never be removed from this teaching modality. That has been the case for millennia. Will it be the case in millennia to come? I don't know. But certainly based on what we see today, there is no rationale or science behind digital education replacing the teacher. Because we know that children like to see a teacher. Let me give you another shocking impact that we have noticed in the last 6 months. Teachers wearing masks leads to less engagement by students in the classroom because the students need to see the mouth, see the mannerism of the teachers. By putting a mask on, there is substantial, rock-hard scientific evidence that Student attention has dropped. Student engagement has dropped. Student passion for the subject has dropped. An electronic environment also takes away from that face-to-face engagement model. Now, am I saying that it's either the teacher or the electronic platform? And the answer is, of course not. However, there is an equilibrium that needs to be managed. We're not there yet. We don't know what that equilibrium is. But let's focus on the truth. And that's always the first casualty often when new technologies come into play or new treatments come into play. Focus on the truth. What has worked in the past and why has it worked in the past? Why is it that when you write, your cognition and which areas of your brain light up are substantially higher than when you type on a keyboard? We all grew up with the idea that fantastic electronic modes of communication now means faster learning, better citizens, a better humanity, more intelligence. Guess what? We're not seeing that. And that's probably because we've forgotten about the truths and we've run into the wonders of a digital environment. Pedagogy has and always has twists and turns because we try different things. We try online learning. We try assessment, which is now occurring in Australia, where the students at home and they will sit an exam at home. Or a student in science is trying to learn and undertake a practical exercise, which previously they would do in the lab. And the employers are saying, well, that's not going to work because how do I know when someone graduates that they know what a pipette is or how to wear a lab coat or how to deal with certain flammable chemicals or how to maneuver themselves in the laboratory? Digital education can't teach you that. Now, this is a wonderful image I saw. And if I was looking at this and I'd say, hang on, if I want to get from the top left corner to the bottom right, there's no way I would design twists and turns like that. Absolutely no way. Straight road, maybe one or two turns, but clearly the engineers know something we don't. But like all forms of pedagogy, there are twists and turns, there are fashions, there are wonderful benefits, but then we also miss out on some of the benefits we've had in the past. So the cautionary tale, and we've seen images on the top right. I hope it's not too prevalent in your community, but in my community, it's extremely prevalent and it's very sad. And my friends in Europe and the US constantly tell me that this is the scene at restaurants when they're out with their family or at the dinner table, where everyone's caught up on their digital device. They're doing bits and pieces and they're excited. The mum or dad could be working, the kids are playing, they're listening. But what's the casualty? The family interaction. Now, how does that play into education? If you are not able to communicate with your family and have a logical discussion about the day's activities, what was exciting, what was funny, then the child's brain does not develop as fast. We're seeing that in the West. So online learning through COVID lessons, there have been a lot. In Australia, I'm of the city that has one of the most amazing records you'll ever come across. It's the most lockdown city in the world. Terrible award to have, but it is the case. So that means that university students have spent most of the last 2 years not even attending university. How shocking is that? University for me was a wonderful life of socialization, activities, being away from high school. Yet for 2 years, most of the university students have not even been on campus. Terribly sad. Same for kids at school. Though there have been breaks of the lockdown, most of the time has been spent at home. So online learning has meant content not optimized for learning, teachers not optimized for delivery. They haven't been taught how to deliver online. Not to mention the idea that in some parts of the community, internet is not of good bandwidth. Parents don't have the money. And then you've got the parents as well. How are they going to manage their children at home in a learning environment? So the COVID lessons are far from being learned, and we are seeing a substantial drop in development of primary, secondary, and university students. Now, my point here is not to be negative, because I love digital education. Zoom has brought us together. It's a wonderful story. Zoom has enabled our business to conduct projects in Somalia, Nigeria, Belgium, Poland, Singapore, Australia, etc., and Indonesia, Philippines. The iPad learning challenges. We all loved the idea of iPad several years ago, but primary school teachers found that when there was the rush to put the kids onto iPads, that the kids, they couldn't write properly. They couldn't discuss an issue. So now iPads are being pulled back, and they're only being used strategically for some problem-solving exercises. That's a great story. We've seen increased anxiety and loneliness. The case there is that you're away from your social environment. So the lesson is, remember those pedagogy truths? The truth being, you must not let humanity slip because we have an electronic platform now. Teacher preparation and respect. Often, we don't think about the teachers. We don't think about you. We don't think about the institutions that have to manage teachers. And parents are often less than socially appropriate in interacting with the teachers in the school. They have expectations because they have now been brought into the picture to say, you must now manage your kids. Whereas previously, the kids were brought in to the school and that was it. So teacher preparation and respect is a key element in configuring the education more appropriately for optimal development. Community and cultural endorsement. It's not enough to say, well, we have a computer now and we have digital tools. That's enough. The modality and design and the architecture needs to reflect community and cultural endorsement. We live in a global community. There are values in your community that are different to my community that are different to your community. The online community, that's different to both of our communities. And I find that very upsetting, to be honest with you. So we have to manage with our family and our community that some of the negative values do not come into our education system. And that is just as critical as having a wonderful computer and strong broadband. Access to technology. We have to make sure that it's difficult, I know, but we have to make sure that over time, more and more people have access to reasonable speed of computers, repair of computers, access to internet. It is really hard, it's challenging, and COVID has taught us that there are many communities, I know in the Philippines, which has many, many little islands. There were students there who simply could not get internet during the adverse weather, the internet was down every couple of hours. Not an optimal environment. The impact on the family. Now, let me be positive. If this is done properly, digital education 4.0, maybe the 5.0 version or 6.0, will make sure that family is involved in education. It'll make sure that the pedagogy truths of interaction, challenge, reasoning, impact on ethical and moral, as well as high achieving and excellence, is transmuted across the student environment into the family environment as well. Culturally and faith sensitive. Well, this is part of the issue I was talking about previously. I sit on a school board. I have friends on other school boards, and we're constantly dealing with negative values from outside our communities, trying to socially engineer our children, whether it's at university level or in younger years. So we need to manage that as part of our digital education 4.0 strategy. Maybe it's 5.0. The health impact. There are physical and mental health issues by being in front of a screen. That is known, has been known for a long time. People's eyesights. There's even dysmorphia, which is being studied at the Harvard Medical School by a friend of ours. I had no idea that these things exist. In my environment, sometimes I'm on the screen 10 hours a day. I mean, do I enjoy it? Well, I don't enjoy being bombarded by electrical signals, but I love what I do. So they're the sorts of issues we need to consider, not just the pure academic, but all those other elements which make up the pedagogy truths.
Excuse me, Dr. Chris, 3 minutes left.
Thank you. Well, I'm on my last slide, and this is a beautiful image of Cambridge University. Should you have the opportunity to travel into the UK or study there, I would recommend it. And there's one of our professor friends and a friend of mine, walking, talking, and thinking. So this is really what we need to impart. The reasoning, the thinking, the utilization of digital platforms, which are architected, like these buildings were architected for a particular period of time and activity. They work for us. We do not work for them. So with that, I am thankful for this opportunity to speak to you. The future awaits, and you are at the forefront of creating, dare I say it, the 5.0 version. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Chris Satiropoulos, for a great explanation. In line with challenges of digital learning in education for 4.0. And again, the best quote of today is walking, thinking, and talking. Is that true, Doctor? Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite you. Maybe you have any questions? Okay, questions. Okay, question from the line. Okay, Dr. Chris, a questions for you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.
Stand up, please. Stand up.
Yes. I hope Dr. Dris is always in the protection of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. I want to ask, how to shape character of the digital learning in education 4.0. Thank you.
Sorry, can you kindly repeat the question, or I think I missed it about.
Sorry.
Is your question the role of cultural education in?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. That's a very good question, a very important question, and I would say a very key question where the culture of your community needs to be reflected positively across the digital environment. It is not fair for an outside person, organization, group to impose their values. Where they do so, I believe you should change them for your context. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Chris. And thank you for the questions. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to invite the next speaker. He is Dr. Andi Asrifan, MPD. Hello.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Please turn on your video. Okay. Hello, Dr. Andi.
Hello.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is our third speakers of today's conference. He is Dr. Andi Asrifan, a lecturer in the Faculty of Teachers Training and Education, Universitas Muhammadiyah Sideneng Rapang in South Sulawesi, Indonesia. Okay, Dr. Andi, you have 20 minutes to present. The time is yours.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Salatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wasahbihi ajma'in. First of all, I would like to say thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity to share with you all in the first graduate program of Institute Agama Islam Negeri Madura for the annual international conference GIMAC. For this opportunity, I would like to say also thank you for the faculty, staff, and lecturer, and special for my dearest brother, Dr. Abdul Ghafur, for inviting me. And for this opportunity, I would like to share about the curriculum development and material design, digital technology approach. Before starting my presentation, I would like to show this video. This is what will look the future based on the World Economic Forum. The first chance and that we would face in the future is robots. I think right now we know more about the robots. And then the next is sensor. And the medical. This one internet. And most of the respondents believe that internet is basic, a life activity that we really need every day. Next is phone. Okay, the next
Across the world,
video, I think
schools have been closed
this is
for weeks and
what
even
we are
months on
going
end.
to
Making
face right
matters
now
worse, no
in
one actually
COVID-19
knows for
shut
sure when
school,
they'll be able to
starting from
reopen,
last year,
as the
I think,
coronavirus pandemic
until
shows no
now.
sign of
But
abating anytime soon. With
although
the South
in
Korean
some school
government
in
due to
Indonesia
officially lay out how it
has
plans to deal with
officially
the
opened the
situation,
school
we thought we'd
to
take a
do
look at how
the
other
offline
education
learning,
systems
but
in
some
countries
school
hit hard by the
in
pandemic
red
are
area
faring.
in
Our
Indonesia still
Chaewon
in
Jo has this
online
report.
learning.
With the COVID-19 pandemic taking over the world, schools around the globe are having to close their doors. In China, the new school semester has been postponed since the beginning of the year, calling on students to stay at home. As an alternative way of learning, the country's education ministry encouraged schools to use online platform, launching a national internet cloud classroom for teachers and students to study at home. Outside of Asia, Italy, the worst-hit country in Europe, has shut schools across the nation. But a school near Milan launched an e-learning class for students to follow their teachers' assignments at home. In France, students currently under a national lockdown are unable to attend classes, while some are conducting them through a video web conferencing app called Zoom.
In general, we have
Okay, thank you. What we will cover today, I will share about the curricula, the textbook, and designing effective teaching material, and some digitally designed materials, and some recommended reading to support our curriculum. Let's start with some the effective guideline for designing effective teaching material. I think for some conference that I have delivered in Indonesia and also in the abroad in some country, there are six factors that should be considered in designing effective teaching material, especially in ELT. The first one is please consider about the learner. Here, the knowledge is knowledge about the learner. In this case, their intelligence. Their intelligence. I focus on the whole garner multiple intelligence, where every child or student is unique. They have special capability or intelligence that can support their feature. And then experiences, first language or mother tongue, level of literacy, aspiration, interest, and purpose. And the next consideration is the curriculum and the context, the value to be told, goal, and the objective, the resource and the facilities. Teacher must be realistic. Access to resources will impact on decision in material design. And then personal confidence and competence. Here, the knowledge, experience, attitude, and how to use guideline correctly. And the last one is copyright convenience, restriction, implementation, and awareness. And the last is the time. How much time they should be share the material, working in team, and then how much time that we will need to organize the material that we are going to design. Let's discuss this picture where have you have a look at the cartoon reflect on status as well as the advantage and disadvantage for the teacher student lessons, and then of using the textbook, and then we compare this to the use of self-designed material. For example, I think this picture is something we face in the classroom. So because based on some resources especially in junior, in elementary and senior high school in Indonesia. So most of the teachers just share and then recommend some book, some textbook from some publisher, and then share to the class, and then from day to day just open your textbook page, blah blah blah, and then do the assignment, and then after that collect the assignment, just that, and then do the evaluation and then report it, just that. And then it's, I think some students say it's always the same, and then I'm bored about my mind. That's the problem that sometimes we need. uh, Curriculum design. There are three components here that we should include in the curriculum. The first one is the standard. I think every country has a standard curriculum or the content that should be included in curriculum to enrich the curriculum, and then also in school syllabus, and then after that we design the textbook based on the standard and the curriculum, and also in school syllabus. But we have to remember that in designing the textbook, we have to consider the student needs, the target, and the learning needs. We have to consider the student way of learning. In this case, I think some students are in auditory, visual, or kinesthetic. And then here's some the systemic approach to designing and maintaining learning curriculum, where starting from the need analysis, I think starting from need analysis, and then after evaluate the need analysis, both from the curriculum itself, and then student or the alumni, and then we designing or the objective, and then after that we have the testing, and then the testing the material, and then uh, 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 there is also the teaching and learning process of the application of the systemic material of our designing. In input, in this case in input process or output, I think in the syllabus input we have some question here, what content that should be included in our syllabus design, and then and in which sequence of learnable unit, that's the syllabus, and then the process or process methodology here about how teaching is carried out, that's the process, and then the methodology is, and with which learning procedures, activity, and so on. And then in output, I think what learner are able to do, that's our target. And then the learning outcome here after the period of instruction, for example, or a school year, that's our learning outcome. uh, in in the curriculum design, there are forward design and center design and backward design in syllabus. I think in forward design we have language center content divided into its key elements sequence from the simple to complex, predetermined prior to the course, and the central design activity based, and then content negotiated with learner. Sequence may be determined by the learner, improved during course, reflect the process of learning. And then backward designing here, the ends means approach, objective, or competence based, and sequence from part skill to whole, and then predetermined prior to course. And the methodology transmissive and teacher directed, and then practice and control of element, imitation of language model, explicit presentation of rule, emphasize on accuracy. And the center here is the learner center, experiential learning, active engagement in communication and negotiation of meaning priorities or over accuracy. And then in backward design here, we have practice of part skill, practice of real life situation, emphasis of appropriacy. And then in the role of teacher in poor design, the instructor model of language performance explainer and transmitter of knowledge and reinforcement of correct language. And role of teacher here, accurate master of language form, and then application of learned material of new context, and then understanding of language form. And then in central design for the role of teacher, facilitator of learning, negotiator of content and process, encourager of learner self-expression and autonomy. And backward design here, the organizer of planner of learning experiences, model of language of performance. And then role of learner in central design, negotiator of learning content and modes of learning, development of learning strategy and responsibility for learning. And then in backward design here, awareness and mastery of situational appropriate language usage, development of fluency. The textbook friend or fool. So some people still believe that textbook, I think, that's the resource of material, content, teaching idea, learning support, and reference. And then the first type here is some people believe that the textbook that strongly in authenticity, learner centeredness, and differentiation, and those loads of time to designing his or her own material. And then the second type is work exclusively with the textbook and follow its linguistic and contextual progression without further reflection. And then the first type here, some people likes the systemic approach over by the textbook, but also adopt or replace textbook content with his or her own material. The people who still support the textbook, because the textbook they has this systematication of structure of material, and then standardization, quality, and then multimodality, efficiency, and support. And then the people who state that textbook is still need to be I mean that should be cons here is because textbook is inauthentic language and distorted or stereotypically content and neglect to student needs and interest exactly. And then the skilling of teacher, and then sure we have to pay much money to have some textbook. And then also designing effective teaching, effective material. There are some pros about this statement, that is the positive effect of on learner motivation, because we have to now the student needs or we have a need assessment starting our process. And then that's authentic cultural information exposure, the real language to support a more creative approach to teaching. And then some also has the cons here, that's inferior quality, copyright infringement, and linguistic difficulty or mistake, lack of structure, limited time, and financial burden. Here's some the evaluation of material in evaluation the material in the last station of designing the textbook. Here we have to check the contextualization of our textbook, and then about the stimulation of interaction, facilitation of learner autonomy, focus on the form and the function, and integrate language use, and then authenticity. And then also appropriate instruction, progression, visual appeal, and flexibility. And here's some model of tasks complexity, grading, and sequencing that can enrich our designing of effective teaching material. Here, for example, in grading the tasks, we have to consider the confidence, motivation, learning experience, learning pace, ability in language skill, cultural knowledge, and the linguistic knowledge. And I think there are some basic tips for designing worksheet based or template. I think we have to consider also the header, the margin, the line spacing, the font, the highlighting, sources, photo, annotation, layout, and the visual to make the student maybe interest and motivate to read our material. And then digitally based need, I think why we should consider the digital environment, because that efficiency, appear, creativity, I think, and adaptation, mediation, sharing, and cooperation. And then here's some platform that can support and enrich our classroom in digitally designed material like Public. Public is I think that can help us to organize and presenting idea like this. And then like this one, we where we organize and presenting the idea. And then Tuxedo, I think, will help us to in word cloud with style, or in Glockster like this one, Glockster, where the Glockster can help us to design in the poster like this in vocabulary, grammar, or reading, I think. In learningapps.org, that can really help us to designing the some effective teaching material in the theme of culture, educational system, grammar, listening, literature, music, pronunciation, vocabulary, and some words. Or in sailor.org, think that can help us in one of the kind of LMS learning management system like Coursera, or Quizlet, and also Quizlet, or in quizzes to help us to designing the quiz as the formative evaluation maybe, or in the to now the student a level of literacy in AdLink, or in a Coursera like this one, or in Future Learn also. It can help us to sharpen our student management system. And also in Schoology, kind of LMS learning management system. And still many applications that can help us to support our teaching and learning in digital environment. The last year, I quote from Dr. Fargis presentation that it doesn't matter how many resources you have. If you don't know how to use them, it will never be enough. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Andi Asrifan, for the great explanation, for the great presentations in line with curriculum and material designed in the digital perspective. Actually, it is the topic is a little bit different with the previous topic, and I am sure that all audiences here have many questions in line with the topics. Okay, questions? Yes. Okay, from S1 degree. Okay.
Thank you, moderator. I am Intan Nuraini from 5th semester Islamic Religious Study Program. I'm sorry because it is about internal problem. All of curriculum program, digital 4.0, globalization era, one problem of pandemic, And how about reading interest? Because Mr. Interest, what could with style? Yes, like that. Yeah. About reading interest report by PISA last year, Indonesia is under India. Then please provide one solution, one comment, one perception, and one answer about this problem because it is about advancement of Indonesian education. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Can I respond directly? Thank you. That's great. Yeah. Can I?
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you. That's really interesting question, I think, and then that's the big problem that we have in Indonesian students right now, where most of the students are lazy to read something everything, but we have some solution that is the solution here, how to lead them in one of digital environment to support and motivate them to read something. For example, based on my experience, we include the reading material in one of the video in YouTube, and then after that we share the YouTube, and then they really love to read yeah, by using the platform that we share, in this case YouTube. That's one of the I think the solution, and then still many solution, I think, based on the who want to deliver the material, and then who is the target of our material, and then the environment that we are. In this case, we have to consider also the facility in our classroom or environment. That's why starting our class, we have to now their way of learning, the way of learning, or learning and the learning style, because not some student has a different learning style. In this case, kinesthetic, visual, and auditory. Yes, thank you. Hopefully.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Andi Asrifan, and thank you for the questions. Ladies and gentlemen, for your information, the conference today is held in blended platform, and yeah. Yes, I'm so sorry because only one questions for one presenters.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Andi Asrifan. Thank you. And see you in the next occasion.
Inshallah,
Okay,
inshallah.
okay. Ladies and gentlemen, for information, the conference is held in both online and offline. So for those who can join the program offline, you can join by Zoom meeting and also YouTube channel of Fakultas Tarbiyah IAIN Madura. And for audiences that join in the YouTube, our YouTube channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to invite the next presenters, the next speakers. He is Assistant Professor Dr. Muhammad Zubair from Jamilya Millia Islamia University, India. Okay, are you there, sir?
Yeah, I am here. Yes, thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Assistant Professor Dr. Muhammad Zubair from Jamia Millia Islamia University, India. You have 20 minutes, sir. Thank you. Okay, the time is yours.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I am Muhammad Zubair. I'm working here in India in the Jamia Millia Islamia is a central government university here in New Delhi. So I want to express firstly Assalamu alaikum and good morning to all of you. And I want to express my gratitude for the invitation in the first GI MAC 2021 conference, international conference, and you invited me, and it's my pleasure to be here. I sincerely appreciate your kind invitation in the conference, which is very interactive and very, we all are expressing our views here, and we all are learning from each other. So thank you for inviting me. So the today's topic is as we discussed, challenging of digital learning in education. So firstly, I would like to discuss something about as we all as we are working as a teacher, and it's all the teacher's duty to assess their students before the teaching, during the teaching, and after the teaching. We have to assess our students. Every individual is different in their abilities and capabilities. They have their own potential, and as far as online platform or the online platform concerned, there are lots of challenges are there, and many positives and negatives are there in the online mode. So when we talk about the digital mode education means digital education means digital learning. It is a type of learning that is supported by digital technology, by instruction practice that makes effective use of digital technology. But teachers and professors or in the school or in the universities are giving their or are preparing their teaching learning plans aided by digital technology. So teaching and learning becomes a smoother experience. But as far as individual need concerned, we have to provide need-based education to our students by the multi-sensory approach. Like our previous speaker was saying that all students won't be a doctor or teacher. All students are different in their nature. They have their own potential. Some students are auditory learners, some students are visual learners, some students are kinesthetic learners, some students are tactile learners. So if I am providing some content to my students in the textual form, but they are not able to learn, so I have to change this text into the auditory or the visual form. So this is the accommodation I have to make. We have to make some sitting arrangements. There are lots of issues, some attention issues, some many issues with the student, behavioral issues, non-academic issues, academic issues with the students. So digital learning, in the digital learning, we are teaching our students in the digital form. There are lots of benefits, but there are lots of challenges are also there in the digital mode. Digital education is the fun learning for all cadres, and particularly effective for children as the innovative audio video feature. So students you know uh, as we talked about the pandemic situation from the last few years, we can say we faced lots of challenges in the online mode, but still we are able to give the education in the online mode. So with the passage of time, the education system all over the world has gone through a dramatic change. The traditional education system no longer fulfills the modern day complex needs, where everything is dynamic and evolving a very fast pace. So there is a huge amount of transformation that takes place in the present world in every nanosecond. So therefore, a new and modern way of education is required to handle such transformation arising a result. So when we talk about the Asian countries, I am here in India. So in the subcontinent, there are lots of challenges in online mode when we are teaching our students. So digitalized classrooms a growing trend, a complete revolution in the way we learn today has been brought by technology. Teachers teaching in the classroom can capture the students and the full strength in the class by digital screens, and facilitating each student to get the same base content and input from the teachers. But as far as their ability is concerned, when as I told you earlier,
I am working in the field of special education. I am teaching in the university in the teaching training department, where we are preparing the future teachers. I am teaching Bachelor of Education and Master of Education students. So teacher who I'm also working in the field of special education. So children who have special needs all have unique abilities and certain personal limitations. So it is very challenging for them to give the equal attention in the online mode, in the digital mode. So when we talk about the special needs, keep in mind that this is a very broad term, and and is often used to describe a very wide range of physical, emotional, and mental and behavioral area. So education is used to describe a wide range of support programs and placements for students, because we have to assess our students before the teaching, and we have to prepare individualized education plan according to their needs. We have to choose our teaching style, teaching methods, pedagogies, and use multi-sensory and multidisciplinary approach in the class, because especially education may be described as a purposeful intervention designed to overcome or eliminate the obstacle that that keep children and from learning. So in the when we talk about the different scenario of the current world, the important thing is that how to overcome digital learning challenges. And the school community resists change. There are still many in education who are resistant to change. For instance, it is hard to change the way you teach when you have been using the same tools for your entire teaching career. So it is important to provide plenty of information, or we have to change our teachers. We have to change their attitude. We have give such exposure. We have to give them such exposure where they can learn technology. Lack of IT support and experts in our localities. So as we are talking about the experts in our environment, in the school, in the universities, lack of IT support, lack of experts are there. They can use technology, but during the pandemic we learn a lot, but still we have to learn. So technology continuously changing, because technology is always changing. So you should not expect to be using the same tools forever. Instead, you should have a plan and budget in place of upgrading technology. You have such intention to learn every time. So lack of quality content, because in the technology, in the digital platform, you have to be very careful when you select your content in online mode. It should be valid or relevant. And digital learning materials independent. Instead, your school administrations and the teacher should work side by side with the school for the development of their personality. And high cost. Technology and digital resources are expensive, not easy available for all. Teachers and schools should be prepared to seek grants and community support for funding. Unequal access for students in all out of school, and software is not optimized for mobile devices. In families, students have only 1-2 mobiles, and they have 4 brothers, 3 sisters. They have big families, so it's very impossible for them to use all these things. Security issues more actively online also leads to more security issues. To combat security issues, your school should invest in security. So lack of training for teachers. Teachers are busy enough, so it can be difficult for them to add one or more thing in the schedule. So digital platform is very beneficial, but there are lots of challenges. The current coronavirus pandemic is having a profound impact, not only on people's health, but also on how learn, work, and live. Among the most important challenges created by COVID-19 is how to adapt a system of education, build around physical schools. So the how can countries and schools ensure equity and inclusion in education during school closures? Because nowadays we are talking about the inclusion. We are giving the education to all in the same setup, to the women, to the man, to the tribes, to the orphans. So we are giving education to all. So during the corona crisis, many countries have been using digital pedagogical tools and virtual exchanges between students and their teachers and among the students to deliver education as school closed. So vulnerable students might, however, have little access to such tools, and require further attention and support to respond to the challenges they face. Countries have developed specific and sometimes innovative policy initiative, but the execution is important, because if you have made many policies but the execution must be clear. So when we talk about a distribution of free electronic devices and learning material in the developing countries, it's very challenging to provide such technology and electronic devices to all the students, for free material to all. So this is the big challenge for all, providing
Excuse me, sir.
equitable and inclusive.
2 minutes
Yes,
left.
yes. Okay, 3 minutes left. Okay, okay.
Yes.
So as we know, we have to provide barrier-free environment, and hands-on training is important. Hands-on curriculum development is important according to the child's need. We have to develop such curriculum which is beneficial for all. Access should be given to all. So very effective teaching and early identification in the early identification is important. Acceptance is important, and access should be given to all. In the community, we have to provide some sort of access, infrastructure, or the barrier-free environment, or the sensitization. We have to aware the society how to use technology. How can our kids use technology? We have to make them independent. We have to use adaptive adaptive things in our curriculum, in our technology. So behavior modification is the important part. Curriculum designing is the another thing. In the pandemic, when we are teaching our students in online mode, it's very challenging. So as I told you earlier, auditory learners are there, kinesthetic learners are there. Some students need some sort of role play. If I am teaching solar system, so one student will play a role of sun, other students will play the role of planets. So kinesthetic approach will work for them. Tactile learning is there. They have to touch and feel the things. Some students are auditory learners. So multidisciplinary approach, multisensory approach, learning by doing, and make barrier-free environment is the challenge in the online mode, because you are not able to see all the students all the time. So school and colleges were shut down in the second wave in the world. Some immediate measures included shifting teaching process online the impact has been more severe for disadvantaged children. For example, many students are in the disadvantaged group. They are marginalized. They don't have resources. So we have to provide such resources to them. Internet connectivity, tools, techniques, how to use them, adaptation. So these are the things we have to provide them. These are the challenges in the online mode.
Sir.
Dealing with the.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
The time is over.
Okay. Okay. So okay, I'm concluding. So as far as the teacher concerned, we have to deal with our students in a specific manner according to their need and abilities. Every student is important for teacher to teach them, because behavior modification is the important thing. We have to achieve our desired goals, and we have to overcome these obstacles in time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Muhammad Zubair from Jamia Millia Islamia University in India. And actually, he told about what's that? Digital moral educations digital moral educations. Okay, for our audience here, do you have any questions? Okay, yes.
Okay.
Okay, time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Technology. Talking about the technology is one of globalization era. We know that globalization era is challenging for everyone to always already compete in competitive life. Sometimes we don't know how to the way or good implementation, how good implementation to face or digital learning for learning education for 4.0, how to we can implementation that the good implementation that we can use in digital learning, like that. Yeah. Actually, we just only know the the technology, but we don't know how to use technology 4.0. How do we implementation it in our to get the target in education, like that. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you for the questions. Your name? Your name?
Syukron Makmun.
Shukron Makmun. Okay, so the questions from Shukron Makmun is how to implement, how to utilize technology for learning. Yeah.
You know, technology refers to the, in the education system, technology refers to the software, primarily application. Why? How can we use, application and these things in our teaching learning process to increase the rate of learning of our students? So the problem is that nowadays students are not able to use technology, but we have to execute the plans. Government have launched many policies. We know many tools and technology things are there, but how can we use in the practical manner? So the thing is that if we have to sensitize our society, we have to provide such environment, such exposure to our students. We have to make some good, experts in that area. In every school, multidisciplinary approach must be there. Multidisciplinary approach means in school, in colleges, every teacher must be there. General teacher, normal teacher must be there. School teacher, special educator must be there. ICT teacher must be there. Technology teacher must be there. Music teacher, games teacher, every teacher must be there. At the early stages, when we work at the early stages in the primary education, at the elementary education, when we will work on our students at the primary stage, at the elementary stage, at the secondary stage, at the university stage, they will learn, because we have no, but how to implement? Implementation will be taken place at the school, in the environment, at the in the families. Parents must be aware. And the another thing is that which content must be used, which tools must be used in our teaching learning process. So technology play a vital role. The multidisciplinary approach and experts must be prepared for giving the technology, skills, competencies to our students at the early stages. That would be better for learning technology. And another thing is that we have to learn technology, because technology is the thing. It will change with the passage of time. It will change again and again. So when we have to include all the innovative things, tools and tools in our education system, and we have to teach them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr.
It's my pleasure.
Muhammad Zubair from India. Thank you for
It's my pleasure.
your great answer for the questions. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, actually we still have 2 speakers. So don't worry, be happy and stay calm until the end of the program. Okay, now I would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Yasin from National Textile University, Pakistan. Hello, Dr. Muhammad Yasin, are you there?
Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, he is Dr. Muhammad Yasin. Okay, sir, the time is yours.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen, please. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad wa barik wa sallam alayhi. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. First of all, I am thankful to Islamic Institute of Madura and then my brother Dr. Abdul Ghafoor, who provide me a chance to speak on this great occasion. And I would like to speak, the topic is challenges of digital learning in education 4. So at the first stage, we can say that future is loading. And if we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow. Now, first of all, we see the education step by step. In education first, 1.0, the meaning of education was dictated. It was based on teachers to students, and schools were considered just like a building made of bricks, and parents considered that schools were just like a daycare. Then the concept changed, and in the new millennium, technology begins to infiltrate the education process, and both students and teachers started to utilize technology in basic way, otherwise known as education 2.0. And then come to the next stage. As this technology advanced, including the mass infiltration of a more user-generated internet, education 3.0 was formed. Students now have their own access to information, the option to learn visually, and platform to easily connect it with faculty and other students. Education was no longer centered upon a back and forth between students and teachers, but instead took a more network approach with students having their own direct connection, a variety of different informative sources. Now the stage change and come towards education 4.0, the modern era. Broadly speaking, education 4.0 is a school of thought that encourages non-traditional thinking when it comes to imparting education. Education 4.0 essentially uses technology-based tools and resources to drive education in non-traditional ways. This means that students are no longer in traditional classroom learning from teachers using textbooks, pens, and papers only. Instead, with Education 4.0, we can have remote students that sign into their classrooms using the internet through modes like massive online open courses or video chat, or dialing in through voice calls to learn materials that are more dynamic in nature, with peers who might or might not be learning at the same paces at them. And now, when we come towards the new era, we have to face a number of challenges. The first one is that there is a lack of vision, and then lack of leadership qualities, lack of money, because in third world countries, the poor countries have low budget on education, and then there was lack of curriculum because they had prepared the curriculum which had been, we can say, running for a lot of years in the past. When the curriculum was not made up to date, and then the parents also resisted to use the modern techniques, and finally, some parents see technology as irrelevant to disruptive to the education of their children. And if we see just a simple chart, we can see that how the modern mode of education is not beneficial in third world countries. Here we have, see the four colors, and see that the first one, the blue one, is uh, showing the internet access in the low income countries, and we can say that the 18% people have the access of internet, while in this we say that the radio, about 50% students have the access of radio, and then on TV, yes, we can say that about 25% have the access of TV, while they have about, we can say that 78% people have the access of their own mobiles. This is the low income countries, we can say that the third world countries. Now we come towards the lower middle income countries. We see that in this belt, we say that about 38% people have internet access, and about 50% people have their own radio, and about we can say 59% students have their own TV, whereas about 79% people have their own access towards, we can say, to the televisions vagara. Next we come towards the upper middle classes income country. We can see that about 60% people have internet access, then about 50% people have their own radio, and about 90 plus students have their own TV, and about more than, we can say that 95% people have their own mobile. If we come towards the lower income countries, third world countries, we can see that about 15 to 17% people have the internet access. Then how can it be possible for them to get education in education 4.0? Furthermore, we also see that there are some ethical and medical aspects in the modern trend of education. We see that when people or boys or the young age students maximum use the internet or other such type of things, it means they harm their eyesight. And then sometimes youngsters are, we can say that, attracted by the unethical sites, and this destroy their character. And again, there are a number of privacy issues which can lead to blackmailing or other cyber crimes. And again, we can say all these things promote towards the copy paste habits. Now, how can we suggest, or we can say that how can we improve these issues? The first of all is this, that it is the duty of the government that they should increase the budget, especially for education 4.0. The teacher must be trained according to the need of the time, and the tools, internet facilities should be accessible to all the teachers and the students in the institutions. More, a strict eye should be kept on students' activities on internet, not only by the parents but also by the teachers. And all the activities of the students must be monitored by the education administration on regular basis. And lastly, the curriculum should be made to fulfill the future needs of the country, so that everyone must be ready ahead for such pandemic in future. And thank you. Yes, please, any question from your side, please.
Thank you. Sorry. Thank Thank you very much, Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Yasin, for sharing insight in line with teaching and learning during 4.0 era. Okay, do you have any questions, audience? Okay, no questions. Okay, again, thank you very much, Dr. Muhammad Yasin, for sharing insight. And this is the time for the next presenter, the last presenters. Yeah, he is Dr. Abdul Ghaffur, the one and only speakers from IAIN Madura. Okay. Okay, audience, I would like to read the curriculum vitae of Sir Ghaffur. He is a senior lecturer in IAIN Madura who teach in Faculty of Education, Tarbiyah Faculty, for about 17 years. And yeah, he joined doctoral program in the postgraduate of Surabaya University online teaching, and he's also PhD students of Muhammadiyah Malang University in Politics and Social Science. He is the president of Indonesian Education Share to Care Volunteers, and he is also a director of Patola Palalo Publishing and the director of IAIN Madura Press. He's also head of academic writing and publication of Sebastra Indonesia, and he got some honor from several institutions and organizations. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Abdul Ghaffur. Okay, sir, the time is yours.
Yeah, thank you, dear moderators. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear host, would you like to share my presentations? Yeah, I'm so sorry first because of I have a trouble with my application, so I need the host that helped me to present the material. Yeah, actually it is my honors to share the material with all the participants in GMAC 2021, that I hope that it will be such kind of annual program for the next ones. Okay, for this afternoon, I would like to share what I'm going to share for their topic is teachers' competent on digital teaching during pandemics. Okay, and the next slide. Yeah, it is a little bit of my short biography that's already explained by the moderators. The next slide. Yeah, the agenda discussion of the material that we're going to discuss in these afternoons. The first one, we talk about what's e-learning and then the grow up of the e-learning itself. E-learning, blended mode, and building an e-learning culture, and then closing. Yeah. Okay, for the first one, we have to talk about what is actually e-learning. Talking about e-learning will be something that it is familiar for this session, yeah, dealing with this kind of pandemic situation. We stay in any kind of condition that all the students should be staying at home. There are so many kind of definition dealing with the e-learning itself. Okay. We could say that the e-learning as a learning by utilizing electronic technologies for assessing educational curriculum outside of traditional classroom. As it appears, answering the question on what is the definition of e-learning itself is not an easy one. It's made perceive that the differences of between learning, e-learning and distant learning are suitable but important, and it's important to make distinctions between the two. Now, talk about the what is e-learning used in education itself will be something that e-learning has a sufficient amount of users across all sectors of society, and the valuable example of e-learning itself being used effectively are plentiful. Now, the truth of e-learning itself will be internet has led it reshaping educations. Education will not be the same in the next decades. In this case, in the 4.0, we have to think about the use of technology in our daily life by using such kind of smart devices. There is no going back. The traditional classroom has to be transformed. We have to be sure with this kind of condition and a pandemic, COVID-19, something that is should be changed is the concept of the traditional learning itself. I mean, we have to be sure that we are entering something that is different before. We never know about the e-learnings. We push to use this one. Also the teachers, also the lecturers, the model of learning will be use such kind of the e-learning by using traditional one. Click. The third one will be talk about many universities and also colleges or the school that may not survive by the end of this decade. Why? Because they are not ready enough with these conditions. I mean, by showing any kind of competence in this era, in this pandemic ones, they are not ready about this one. But something that we appear in our condition that it is such kind of blessing in disguise. Again, blessing in disguise. Why? Because of the teachers, the lecturers, they have to use any kind of application, technologies, and others platform that should be mastered by them. So in this case, I could say that it is a blessing in disguise for them who want to study, for them who want to use any kind of platform and also application in education's one. Next slide. Yeah. For today, e-learning market will growing fast and expansive. Why it could be happens? We have to know by using this kind of application, by using this kind of platform, we have to pay. Such kind of the premium ones. Ruang Guru, for example. Kahoot scheme, for example, and others, we have to pay. But actually, there are so many kind of application or platform that is free for us. Only about 1% of the population have taken an online course. Yep, I'm so sorry with this one. There are so many kind of platform for you to use such kind of Coursera. In this case, so many kind of universities in the world serve you about the course itself. But in this, you have to pay. That is why I said that only 1% who want to pay. Several of them want the free one. The e-learning is still new. Yeah, for us, it is still new. Because what? We have to stay in the traditional one. We have to stay in the rural area. And we have something new with the application itself. Next slide. Okay, e-learning is going to the big ones. Why? When talking about this one, we have to talk about something that it is so strange at the first one, but in this case, we have to push to use any kind of the e-learning itself. Okay, education and training form are one of the largest sectors of the economy in most countries. Over the last decades, the number of corporate universities grew up from 400 up to 100 and 1,100. 40% of Fortune of 500 companies have established corporate universities. Okay, there are so many kind of universities in Indonesia about these ones. Next slide. Okay, skills job represent 85% and all job in US, for example, in Central to present in 1950. But today, it is growing up faster. Next slide. A big growth is expected to the education market. For example, for today, as I told you, the student population in US colleges increased from 232,000 at the terms at the century to 1.3 million for today. In Malay, with one universities in 1957 to over 21 public and private university. What about the U.S. Army established on online educations? The future soldier will not be carry gun, but computers. Next slide. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. For today's, the internet user will continue to grow. We have to be sure for today, there are so many kind of the users of the internet that running fast. Not talking about the times, but talking about the minutes, talking about the second, the users of the internet growing so fast. Next slide. Okay, for the next slide, we'll be talking about the data. Okay, it is the data, Asia, Europe, and others. As I told you just now, that it is continue to grow and grow for tomorrow, for the next one. Slide. These are kind of the impact ones. We have to think about at the beginning of our education, we think about how to write. We use that kind of leaf. Indonesia, that kind of daun lontar, used for them to write down. And then the next one, we use paper. After paper, we use that kind of the telephone. And then televisions. By using internet, we can use that kind of computer. For today, there are so many kind of platform that we could use in our teaching and learning process. Next. Yeah, for today, we could say that the concept of teaching will be a kind of a blended mode, blended learning. We can substitute the using of medias and others by using blended mode. For example, take a look on our traditional teaching by using chalk and board and how long rule the classroom will not be eliminated lesson precise at times. And you have to show that in India, that already shown by my brother Faragis, yeah, he spent the material just now there, the blackboard still used. But how about Indonesia? We stay in, you think that it is in the modern one? Okay, take a look in the on the benefit of this one. Interactive digital content for today's, we have something that more emphasizes on demand learning interactive. Next slide. Okay, what about the national ICT agenda, the infrastructures? We have to think about still in our governments. They have to fulfill the communication, the fiber optic, the cabling, gigabyte, ATM, satellite, transport, logistics, and others. It is something that fulfilled by the national ICTs. Okay, how about the people, work cultures? In this case, we have to think about to replace our mindset, change our mindset, how to work with the culture itself. We stayed in a long distance, but we could stay join with them in such kind of research in others. ICT skill, knowledge workers, learning society, and also moral and also ethical. It is something that is very important for us, how to teach about the moral and also ethical one in learnings, in ICTs, in online learning conditions. And the application of ones such kind of smart school, for example, in Indonesia, okay, there is an Islamic university that applies that kind of online campus, such kind of this. Smart card, telemedicine, and others. Next slide. Okay, still in the national ICT agenda. Okay, skip. Next slide. Okay, now take a look on this one. Yeah, take a look on this one. We have to think about the condition that should be fulfilled with this one. Some kind of the private market-driven course and research collaboration with industries, research findings, and others. Okay, and the next slide. Okay,
preparing students for lifelong learning in our globalization, learning organization, knowledge, economy, the impact of the ICT itself, knowledge of workers and also competitions. Okay, and in this case, we have to prepare them, and after that, they could got their scholarship and others. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. Again, I have to remind you, learning model will need to change. How could we change about this one? Industrial is a learning model, digital is learning model, and others. Up to now, we have to change their main side. Next. Traditional and e-learning approach. It is something that we have to differ each other. Yeah, talking about this one, the classroom is how the condition of the classroom, the content, and also the personalization on online learning path, and also learning path that use such kind of technology. Next slide. Delivery mode will change. Take a look on the learning itself. For today's growing student population, increasing institution fee, lack of facilities and funding. We think about this one. In the past, you go to the bank and then pay your tuition fee. But for today, you only transfers. Something that's more easier for us. Next slide. Jump up to the last one. Jump up to the last one. The last one. Okay, stop here. Now, think about the e-learning itself. It will be our teachers' obligation with this one. Okay, so in this case, how to start? Talking about the traditional ones, the beginning and also evolving. We are ready or not, we have to entering this kind of zone. The last one. Jump up to the last one. Okay, the conclusion ones. ICT and e-learning offers opportunity to raise education standard in school. Lecturing of ICT tools are available for teaching and learning. Closes the gap of the digital divide. Involvement of teachers and parents is important. School will need funding, access, and training. Without this kind of funds from the government, it will be nothing. I think that's all for the material. I back to the moderator. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Sir Gafur, for insightful presentations in line with digital learning environment. And it needs our readiness in all aspects, in all stakeholders. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the audience, I would like to give the time for you to ask the questions. Okay, yes, you. Please mention your name and your name.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for your time. The learning is part of the technological development. I want to ask about impact technological development. What happened was the impact of technological development is the decline in student morale towards teachers. How to solve that? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the questions. And the questions is about the impact of ICT or technology utilizations in terms of their attitude toward the lecture or the teacher. Okay.
Yeah, it is something that I already explained in my presentation, that it is very difficult to teach about the value. It is very difficult to teach the ethical ones. For example, for today's, okay, it is something that the challenge for the teachers itself when we have to be harnessed in our teaching learning process with such kind of giving them grade and others. Talking about this one, it is my bad practice. Yeah, it is my bad practice. In some cases, when all the students such kind of sending me their assignment, okay. In this case, I have to share about the reality. And actually, there are so many kind of students at that time share the material without only by such kind of copying the material from the internet and others. Then I use some what's that platforms, yeah, such kind of Turnitin, yeah, Ternitins. After that, I got so many kind of cases. There's so many kind of my students, yeah, has high similarity. So in this case, I could say that all my most of my students is not honest about this one. So in this case, I try to what's that? Warn them, okay? Give them such kind of advices that it is just a little bit of ethic that could take by their teachers itself. Actually, that's one. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Sir Gofur. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, actually we are currently in the end of the program. And in this case, I would like to say thank you for all for all speakers from India, from Pakistan, from Australia and Indonesia. Thank you for new insight in line with challenges of digital learning in education 4.0, which covers which discuss about the challenges and opportunities in teaching and learning process during pandemic and 4.0 era. And we also have discussed material and curriculum development or design through ICT. And the last, Sir Gofur has told us about the digital learning environment, such as the use of e-learning in teaching and learning process. Again, thank you very much for all dear speakers and for all audiences in Tarbiyah building. First floor here, and also the audience in Zoom meeting, and also the viewers of YouTube. Again, thank you very much for your participations. And I would like to remind you not to forget to fill out the link of attendance, and the certificate will be automatically sent to your email. And again, for YouTube viewers, I would like to remind you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe of our YouTube channel, Fakultas Tarbiyah IAIN Madura. Okay, thank you very much. And the last, I would like to say thank you, and I'm sorry for many mistakes. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thanks a lot, my brother Muhammad Zubairs from India. Thanks a lot for your presentation and your shares.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Thank you, sir, for inviting me. Thank you.
Most welcome.
Assalamualaikum.
Para